Now we would start the presentation for the round 1. We would like to welcome Ms. Dilshad and the topic for today from SQTL, and the topic is Career Prospects in Software Testing.
Hi, good morning everyone. So I'm Dilshad and I'm here from SQTL. We are basically one of the niche training providers in the field of software testing. So before I start, a little bit about myself. I have been working in the software industry for close to 15 years. And I've had a lot of experience in fields, a lot of fields that Sir just spoke about, right, from project management. And even I started out as a fresher, so a lot of what Sir was saying was really made a lot of sense. So as freshers, we really need to get into something which we like and then grow in that area. So I'm here basically to talk about a field that a lot of us don't know much about. As freshers, most of us feel that if I have come from an IT, BE Com Science or BE IT, I must get into Java, .NET, I must get into development. Our thinking is quite limited to those kind of things. So Sir was speaking about so many different fields. So software testing is one of the upcoming areas in the IT industry. So let me just run you through some of the career prospects. So like we said, software testing has an immense potential, and because we don't have so many trained people, there's a big gap between what the industry requires and what we are able to provide the industry. A lot of us in college have small courses on software engineering, a little bit about QA, but that's not sufficient to be industry ready. Okay, so there is a big gap. And as per the latest Gartner figures, we have close to a 40% gap in what the industry requires in terms of software testers and what we are currently able to provide. Okay, so this is where a lot of students can decide and make their careers in this field. Some students come to us saying that testing is not very interesting. I'd like to put this into the right perspective. Testing is a lot more interesting than, actually if you get into testing, it's a lot more interesting than development, okay? Because you're actually looking at the big picture of a product. You're not looking at one little module, you're not looking at one little program. You don't have to write one algorithm in some language, but you're looking at an entire product and you're trying to break the product. The whole idea of testing is make sure that you're failing the product, okay? So we are being very critical about our products. We are trying to ensure that we break them before they get released into the market. And that's where you require a lot of analytical skills, a lot of domain knowledge. So actually it's a very, very interesting career. Okay. So like I said, though we do a lot of, we do some part of this as part of our college curriculum, it's not sufficient. So if people want to get into software testing, you really need to learn a lot about it. Okay, so then it's your choice and how you learn it. Either you study it on your own or you join some course where you're basically focusing towards this field. So why testing? Okay, so first let me get into when a lot of us joined the industry, which was 10-15 years back. This field of software testing did not exist. There was only a field of development, and the same guys would develop code, would write, would do the business analysis, would develop code, would test it, would release it. So it was one integrated team that would do everything. It had advantages because you were responsible for your own product, but the disadvantages were a lot more. Because a lot of times what was happening is we were releasing products into the market which were not good in quality. And when I mean quality, it means a lot of things in terms of efficiency, in terms of portability, in terms of usability, security, which are now becoming key to any product. Okay, so because there were these so many problems which were arising when products were launched, Windows Vista, which failed so miserably because it was not tested with a user perspective. So that is why a lot of these US companies, German companies, Japanese companies realized that a separate testing cell was required to ensure good quality product. Okay, so we didn't want products to fail. We wanted products to be bought by customers, and therefore we had this separate group which would only test a product. And the reason we had the separate group is not because developers can't test, but basically because if I am a developer developing a piece of code, I have a certain bias towards that code. I like what I develop. Okay, if I make something, I like it. So I'm not able to find problems in it. So I believe that whatever I make is excellent. But when somebody else looks at my piece, he says, "Boss, isme ye nahi hai. Maybe we can do this better." Okay, so somebody looking at it from a different perspective brings in, is able to find more problems. And that is why this independent group was very important. Okay, and that is why we came up with these separate testing cells. So I remember when I was working, we had we were working with a company called Hitachi. All of us know how picky Japanese are with their quality. And they were like, "You guys don't test. I'm going to put my group of testers to test." And that's how, these independent testing teams started. And today, every project has an independent testing group. Very few projects work with their own testing groups. I mean, the developers don't do testing anymore. Okay? So, that's what I was trying to say. Lot of focus on quality. Today, quality is the key. We can't afford to deliver low quality products. And therefore, we want to ensure that products are well tested. Also, because software is got so integrated with day-to-day products, the risks related with under-tested software is very high. Okay, today every product that you see in the market has a software component in it, which was probably not there, 10, 12 years back. So now the risks related to under-tested software is a lot higher than what it was earlier. Okay, so now we have to ensure that testing is crucial, finding problems is crucial before we release any product. Have any queries, anyone? So what are the kind of testing services? Now I'm talking about outsourced because a lot of our projects come from, US, come from Europe. So a lot of our work is, the offshoreization of projects which are happening in US and Europe. So what are the kind of different testings? Testing is not just, picking up a system and trying to find problems. There are different, key areas of testing. There is security testing, there is performance testing, there is usability testing, and of course the very, very basic functional testing. So a lot of these kind of niche testing areas are now getting offshoreized. So when we say testing as a career, it is, testing itself has so many independent career options. You can become a certified security tester, or you can become a certified, a performance tester. So every area of testing itself has its own set of certifications. And then, once you decide, okay, this is what I like to do. I love hacking. It's in my blood to try and break something. It's in my blood to get into somebody's system and pull out data. Then you're going to become one of the best security testers. Okay. So you have to, you can feel that, this is what I like to do. मुझे ये कीड़ा करना अच्छा लगता है, and therefore I want to do this kind of work. Okay. So that's something that a lot of us, obviously when we start, we get into functional testing. But as we grow into the field, there are a lot of different areas of testing that we can get into. Okay, so you can see, end-to-end functionality, usability, system testing, performance testing, load and, load testing, stress testing. A lot of our, today since so much stuff is there on the web, there are a lot of problems in terms of load and performance. So that's another very crucial area of testing. So a lot of us, students ask, can anyone do testing? Yes, if you have a IT background, you can, because it's software testing. Of course, you don't need to understand C, C++, Java, but you need to understand IT, you need to understand the way systems are built. So anybody with an IT, graduate or postgraduate, either it's com science, electronics, electrical, IT. The idea of testing is not to understand technology, but to understand domain. Okay, so a tester is someone who is more analytical. Rather than understanding how to write code, he is somebody who understands systems very well. Okay, so if you have that analytical skills, then you become real good testers. Why did I put the last point? Not very keen on coding, because there are a lot of students who come out of IT but say, "Mujhe coding itna acha nahi lagta hai." Then there are a lot of options for you. Then you can get into services, you can get into testing. Is one field where you understand IT very well, you understand the systems very well, but you don't like to write code. And testing is something that you can really do very, very nicely. Okay. This is a career graph that I wanted to show you. Typically, development is very good, but what we've seen in the last few years is, because testing kind of gives you an overall picture of the system, growth opportunities, or your growth in the organization is slightly faster, because you're able to see the big picture. So within 10 years, you'll probably be handling project management, program management, more than just project management. You'll typically be handling, an entire ODC or, an entire program. So your growth opportunities are not only on par with development guys, but sometimes a lot faster than development guys. Not to say that development is not good. I love development also. I have seen both sides of development and testing, but I've seen that, when you're in a testing, in a testing group, you understand the business of the customer a lot better, and therefore you grow a lot faster. Whereas when you're in a development, you are so into writing code that business is not something that you're really looking at. Okay, so therefore the growth becomes a little faster when you're working with a testing team. Lot of things that I can speak about in testing. I don't have so much of time, but I want to give you certain, trends, emerging trends in the testing field. So, the first thing is testing of mobile applications. Now, today everything is on mobile systems, okay? And when I say mobile, I mean any kind of mobile systems. Be it your tablets, your smartphones, laptops, any kind of mobile systems. And there are so many apps that are now available on our mobiles. So, testing these apps is one of the most emerging kind of areas which are coming up. And we have a lot of companies. Recently, we had placements from a company called Zipac. A lot of you youngsters must be knowing. They build basically, gaming systems for mobile applications. So, there is testing on gaming devices, there is testing on other kind of applications, lot of different challenges, because you have different OSs that you need to test on, you have different hardware that you need to test on. So we actually, need to give our students, different kind of phones and say, please test on these. Or different kind of, or you have to get into simulators and say, okay, this is an Android simulator, you test on this, or this is an iOS simulator, test on this. So there are different OSs, there are different platforms. You have to make sure that your app is compatible with all of this. So testing that is something which a lot of youngsters are, really, getting into, and it's definitely emerging. Telecom industry actually is emerging as a big industry today. So the telecom sector, we have a lot of projects in the telecom sector, and therefore testing on these applications is really, really becoming a big job today. Okay. So like I said, there is hardware testing, there's software testing, there is, different kind of devices, there are different kind of operating systems. So a lot of these are, the key challenges to testing on mobile apps. The other thing which we are talking about, Sir spoke about Hadoop a little while back, big data testing. What is this big data? Now, big data is basically all this unstructured data that is, accumulated from a lot of different sources, through GPRS systems, and a lot of different sources which are, bringing in a lot of different data. Now, all of us know the difference between data and information. This is the first thing that we learn when we are doing computer science. Information is processed data. What do you do to all this, accumulated data which is coming into us? How do you analyze it? It has to get processed and it has to get into sensible information. Now, this processing of this, unstructured, big amount of extremely high volume of data, and getting it into a state that can generate analytics is a big job. Once that data is structured, it needs to be tested. Is this the right structure? Can I pull out the right analytics out of it? So this is becoming a big, big challenge, because today the amount of data that we have is enormous. And we want to draw out information, but are we information from that? Is the data which is getting, massaged correct? And that is what is getting into what we call as big data testing. Okay, so it's something which is really, really recent, something which is just coming up. And industries are now starting to use this for their own analytics. So this is something which is very, very interesting, which a lot of people would like to get into. Of course, it's something which is extremely new, so a lot of research is still getting into it, and the HDFS or the Hadoop distributed system is one such system which is like helping to extract this data, analyze this data, and testing this information. Okay, so the important thing is this unstructured data needs to be formatted and tested before it can be used, because we don't want to draw out wrong conclusions from incorrect data. Okay, because the kind of analysis which is going on is extremely important. So as if your data is incorrect, you're drawing out wrong conclusions. Okay, so we want to ensure that the data that we pull out is the right data. Okay, so that's something which is very interesting. So we're speaking about cloud. So everybody's talking about cloud today. So what is this cloud and what do we do about testing? Now I'm not saying we are testing the cloud, because the cloud is there and there's nothing that I can test. What is happening today is, because of the cloud, infrastructure requirements have become much easier because everything is available. So initially we used to set up a very, very heavy infrastructure for performance testing. You had to have a tool like LoadRunner, which was extremely expensive. Licensing was a big problem. Today a lot of this is available on the cloud. Okay, we have software as a service, we have SaaS, which is now all available. So what we are doing is we are using this cloud to be able to test a lot of our applications where setting it up earlier was extremely expensive. Resources is not cheap. Today everybody is trying to do things with the least possible expenditure, and therefore cloud is becoming something where it's becoming very easy for us to get services which are available on the cloud and use it for our testing. Okay, so what we were paying licenses for earlier, we are doing it much cheaper now. Okay, so a lot of companies are getting into testing using the cloud. Okay, so that's something which is really good. So what are the kind of testings that you can do on the cloud? You can do functional testings, a lot of load, performance, stress, a lot of compatibility testings, because we want to test our applications on different kind of machines, different kind of servers, different kind of networks. So it's very difficult to set this up. I mean, you can imagine if I want to test an application with so many different kind of hardware and softwares, it's not easy to set up. I'm really sorry. So this is where the cloud is really helping us. Okay. I'm not getting into the details. Of course, all of this is very niche areas of testing and they need to be learned. I'm here only to tell you what is happening in the field and to generate that interest. Of course, how to do these kind of things is something that everybody has to learn and experience. Now, Agile is not really a kind of testing, but Agile is more like a testing methodology. Okay, so initially, I mean, our standard legacy methods of testing were, either using the V model or using the waterfall model and doing testing, later into the life cycle. Today, with Agile becoming the way of project management and the way of, delivery management, testing is now integrated into the Agile methodology. So how is it different from our legacy way of running projects? Basically what Agile says is integrate testing as part of the main development activities. Do testing and development in parallel. In each sprint or in each iteration, make sure that whatever is developed in that iteration is thoroughly tested and deployable. Okay, so the whole idea of Agile is at the end of a sprint or at the end of an iteration, whatever we build should be a potentially deployable product. And therefore, testing that sprint becomes very, very important. And then you have things like extreme programming, and you have test-driven development. Our older methods of testing was एक बार code लिखा जाए, उसके बाद test cases लिखो. That's how we are all used to writing unit test cases. Agile says don't do that. Agile says start writing your test cases early. Once you know what you're going to test, then write code. Okay, so you have something called test-driven development. So a lot of different things are coming up. A lot of now everybody says Agile, everybody has their own ways of implementing Agile. So the only thing I'm trying to say is, today testing and the development teams are working hand in hand, and we're trying to deliver the sprints which are reviewed by the customers at the end of the iteration, which are completely tested products. Okay, and your delivery times are becoming shorter, your delivery cycles are becoming shorter, and you are able to deploy things a lot faster. Of course, not entire products, but products in small chunks. Okay, but then they are completely tested products. Okay, so a lot of new things coming into the testing field. Of course, the standard stuff of doing functional testing, security testing, usability testing, performance testing, stress testing, all of that is there. So, testing is an extremely vast area. A lot to learn, a lot to a lot to gather out of experience, and very interesting. Okay, a little bit about SQTL as a company or as an institute. We are basically one of the oldest institutes for where we specialize in software testing, and we've grown with the industry. We've started a lot of new stuff. We have extremely good alliances with QAI, with ISTQB, which is the International Software Testing Board. So we have industry faculty. So a lot of our, most of our faculty are industry folks. So they are up to date with what's happening in the, the current software testing trends. Okay, so whatever knowledge we give our students is very real-time knowledge, and what is required to become industry ready. Like I said, we have a lot of alliances. ISTQB is the most important, where the, this is the international certification for software testers. If you want to become a software tester, this is a certification which is not mandatory, but today pretty much the, something which you just need. I mean, nobody, a lot of companies say, if you're not ISTQB certified, please don't walk in for an interview. Okay, so they don't want to teach you, they believe that you know, and therefore the certification becomes very mandatory. So we've had this alliance with ISTQB for a long time now. We do trainings, we conduct the exams. We don't conduct, the ITB conducts at premises of SQTL. Okay, we have alliances with CSI, we have alliances with QAI. So we have the very basic course for freshers is like, so testing, I said, is not easy to learn. So, it takes, just to understand the basics, will take you close to 2 months of a full-time course. So we have a full-time 2-month course on software testing, which is for all IT graduates, where we talk about the very basics of manual testing. The ISTQB certification is mandatory for all our students, because till they are ISTQB certified, we would not like to send them into the industry. A lot of testing tools. Why are tools important? Because they help us do things a lot faster, reduce resources, increase accuracy. So we teach them, we teach our students a lot of the industry specified tools on software testing, and of course projects, tests. So it's all part of a really rigorous course. Okay? And of course there is 100% placement assistance. Lot of big companies coming to us for placements. I just wanted to inform, we have Sunguard, we have Zento, we have Zapac. So a lot of big names in the industry, and we have placed a lot of our students. I think I have a list of, in the last 3-4 months, the kind of students that we have placed. Of course, see, today the industry is not doing very well. So nobody is going to get extremely high salaried jobs. But the important thing is getting a job and learning. So what we always tell our students, and what sir was saying, which is very right, please don't run after money. Understand what your areas of interest are, understand what your liking is, and even if you're getting a job as a trainee with just 5,000 rupees stipend, please don't say no. I'm not saying this only for testing, I'm saying this for any kind of career. Don't reject jobs based on salary. Okay? because you are getting to learn. Whether you're learning with money or without money, it is immaterial. As you learn, you are in a position to demand. But till you don't learn, you are not in a position to demand salary today. Okay, because there is a lot of, I would not say recession, but yes, there is a slowdown. People are not recruiting too much. So if you're getting a good job, learn. The important thing is for freshers is please keep learning. Okay, and that's all that I wanted to really speak about. Any questions anyone has, I'm open to take. Thank you so much.